The NFL on CBS joins you from Jacksonville. Today, the Chiefs taking on the Jaguars. Opening week of the 2019 season. We'll come back for the opening kick after this. A scorching afternoon here in Jacksonville, TIAA Bank Field. 91 degrees, feels like more in the high 90s. Do they have a press pool? Do you know? Is that an option?
I didn't bring my suit.
Oh, well, you're Dan Fouts. You don't need a suit.
Hello.
Chiefs and Jaguars. Jacksonville, last place in the AFC South last year. In 15 of the last 16 years, a team has gone from worst to first in the NFL. Jacksonville won the toss. They've deferred. So Josh Lambo will kick it off to the rookie McCole Hardman. And the 2019 NFL season underway, kickoff weekend. Hardman out of Georgia. Hardman slowed down and dropped just short of the 25-yard line. That's where Kansas City will open up this 2019 season. 3 straight AFC West titles, 4 consecutive playoff appearances. They've been outstanding in opening week games under Andy Reid. 4 wins in a row in their season opener, 5-1 under Reid. And Patrick Mahomes, the Super Bowl MVP. NFL MVP, would like to be the Super Bowl MVP this year if things go the way that Kansas City envisions. Shotgun for Mahomes on first down. Damian Williams is wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Quincy Williams, the rookie out of Murray State, who's been out with a torn meniscus. His first NFL action, it's a loss on the play. And the starting offense for Kansas City, this is one of the top-notch offensive lines. They feel like they're going to be able to get a push no matter who the running back is. Damian Williams was signed to a 2-year, $8.1 million deal. We'll see how much LaShawn McCoy plays today for Andy Reid. We'll see Jacksonville in the nickel quite a bit. The throw on second down, and it is Tyreek Hill, who was just rewarded with a big contract. Hill, 3 years, $54 million. That covers 8 yards, third and manageable. Defensively for Jacksonville, they were number 5 in team defense, 4th in scoring defense last year. They have no Marcel Darius today. A question mark as to whether or not he would play with an elbow injury. He is not. So they've moved Calais Campbell inside, and the rookie Josh Allen gets the start.
You want to get that speed pass rush to try to contain Mahomes in the pocket.
On 3rd and 3, they send Hill in motion. Mahomes looks that way, now will fire and hit his man at the 40. Oh, look out! Sammy Watkins takes it all the way. Explosion in Jacksonville. 68-yard touchdown.
A missed tackle in the secondary, and that's all they needed to see for Watkins to take it the distance. Just a hook route over the middle. He's got yardage for the first down. There's the missed tackle. There's the opening in the secondary. Ramsey misses, and see you later. 68 yards and a happy quarterback. His first touchdown pass of the season after throwing 50 last season.
We talked to Sammy Watkins yesterday. He said he changed his workouts this offseason. He trusted the trainers and the coaches. He had more balance in his life. Traveled to Bali and Thailand and Turks and Caicos. Found some solace. The extra point is good from Butker. 3 plays, 75 yards. It took 1:36 for Kansas City to remind the rest of the league who's got the most potent offense in the NFL. It's the Chiefs. They can do it from all angles. Well, get used to this. A lot of Kansas City offensive records. They have now tied the longest mark for consecutive games scoring in the first quarter. The Green Bay Packers in 2014-15, 22 straight games. Chiefs have matched them. And Harrison Butker will kick it off to Tyler Ervin as the Jaguars will try to put this to the side and refocus now. First offensive possession and our first focus of the season.
Well, the Jags were in a zone defense, but they're still affected by the motion here by Tyreek Hill. Then the square in. Watch the linebackers go after Hill, opening up the middle, and then a missed tackle here right by Jared Wilson. Nice block there as well by DeMarcus Robinson, and it's all over for Watkins, who still has that blazing speed.
And it's pick your poison if you're a defense going against Kansas City. Sammy Watkins burns the Jaguars. Nick Foles in his Jaguars debut. It's a give for Fournette, and he has spun down immediately. In fact, it's a loss of one as Derek Nottie was over there defensively for Kansas City. Some jawing after the play with Frank Clark. So Nick Foles just had that magical run with Philadelphia, then last year put in a similar situation. He flourished once again.
He told us on Friday he wants to find a rhythm early and settle into the game, not worried about trying to keep pace with the high-scoring Chiefs. He knows he'll see a number of blitzes from the Chiefs, but he's confident that he and his wide receivers, especially D.D. Westbrook, can handle it.
Fake it to Fournette. Foles, little sidearm toss to DJ Chark. Doug Marrone told us that Chark was going to play a key role this season. They need him to step forward in his second year out of LSU. Charvarius Ward just brought down Chark on the play, 7 yards. Offensive line, that's where we've got to keep an eye open on whether or not Will Richardson, the second-year pro out of NC State, can hold up on that left side. Jawan Taylor making his NFL debut on the right side from Florida. And the backs and receivers. This is not a star-studded group, and Foles knows there's going to be some growing pains along the way here on offense. 3rd and 4 for Jacksonville. Kansas City already leads at 7-0. Shotgun. Foles lofts one, out of bounds, looking for Conley, the former Kansas City Chief, in a matchup with Bashad Breeland, and it's 4th down.
Absolutely the worst type of start for the Jaguars, not getting a first down. Their defense was just burned by Sammy Watkins, and now they're going to be right back on the field against this high-powered offense of the Chiefs.
So Logan Cook will kick it away here for Jacksonville, and Tyreek Hill, who is a threat to score every time he touches the football, waits for it at the 25. Remember the start Kansas City had last year against the Los Angeles Chargers, week 1. Charger tried to mount a comeback, couldn't do it. Hill tossed out. Tyreek Hill, the timing was off as Robinson got down the field simultaneous with Hill catching the football. 47-yard punt, no return. 7-0 Kansas City. Chiefs offense back on the field when we come back.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. AARP. Real possibilities. And by Nick Cafe Premium Roast Coffee. Good is brewing.
Doug Marrone trusted his defense and put them on the field, deferring. And on the 3rd play from scrimmage, Mahomes to Watkins for a long touchdown. Mahomes upstairs, he hits Travis Kelce, and he's brought down from behind by Boye. Mahomes shredding this Jacksonville defense, 42 yards on the pass play.
It's a long pass play down the field. Kelce just continues to run away from Boye, and right on target with the pass is Mahomes. Mahomes throwing it on the run, as he does so well. Perfectly thrown. Another big play.
Kelce had 5 catches for 100 yards last season in a victory over Jacksonville. Mahomes already has 118 yards, 3 of 3, and a touchdown for the reigning MVP. They go empty on 1st down in Jacksonville territory. Mahomes uncorks it. It's complete. Sammy Watkins. 1st down to the 15-yard line. That covers 21 yards. In addition to Watkins changing his training this year, he just said he's opened up more, joking around with his teammates, with the coaches. He's altered his mindset.
Good pressure that time by the rookie Josh Allen, but just an instant late as Mahomes steps into that throw and gets another perfect pass on its way.
Moving down the field with ease, Tyreek Hill sets up in the backfield, and they'll give it to him. Hill looking for blockers, ridden down as he crossed the 15-yard line. Avery Jones over there for Jacksonville, 4-yard pickup for Hill.
And talking to Mahomes yesterday, he said that the aspect of the game that he wanted to improve upon this season is that his indecisions as to when go for the splash plays or to just check it down to a receiver who'll pick up the necessary yards. It's hard to argue, though, with the way he plays with this gunslinger approach. Puts up those video game numbers as he's doing right now.
Todd Wash, the defensive coordinator for Jacksonville. This has got to be the biggest challenge going in the NFL as a defensive coordinator. How do you defend Mahomes and the Chiefs? 2nd and 5. Mahomes delivers to the outside. It's caught by Williams. And he's gang tackled there as he tried to work the sideline. Boyer, first man there for Jacksonville to pick up 2 yards.
It's time to catch your breath, isn't it, pal?
It is. Just had a sip of water.
That's a good idea on this day. You said it's going to reach the high 90s?
Yep, that's what they're talking about.
Is that the humidity?
No idea. I have no background in meteorology. The Chiefs scored 30 or more points in 12 games last season. 3rd and 3. Little trickery. Mahomes, end zone, too high for Kelsey.
Boy, and Mahomes knows he missed one here because Kelsey was open in the corner of the end zone, but this ball's going to get away from Mahomes.
Oh, no look. Should have looked.
Yeah, no look, no completion.
He's now 5 of 6. So temperature on the field,
Yeah.
we've cracked triple digits.
No kidding.
Harrison Butker on for a 28-yard chip shot. Butker signed to a 5-year, $20 million deal. And can add to the Kansas City lead. Butker with Colquitt holding. The snap from Winchester. He knocks it through. And the Chiefs in front, 10-0 on Jacksonville. Foles and the Jaguars offense will get another crack at this KCD when we come back. 145 total yards for the Chiefs, 6 for Jacksonville. 8:57 to go here in the opening quarter. Kansas City with a 10-0 lead after the 6-play, 70-yard drive resulting in a Butker 28-yard field goal. And Butker will kick it off. Tyler Ervin, one of the new faces here for Jacksonville, formerly with Houston, released by Baltimore. The return man. Over his head, coming out to the 25. The people affected by severe weather and other disasters need help now. To support those impacted by Hurricane Dorian, text Dorian to 90999 to give $10 to American Red Cross Hurricane Relief. Hurricane Dorian altered the practice schedule for Jacksonville this week. We did not do major damage in this area. The images you see from the Bahamas and the Carolinas. Nick Foles. Eagles went 10-3 with Foles as their starting quarterback the last 2 years. Double tight end set, O'Shaughnessy and Swain. Foles knocked away at the last moment, trying to squeeze it into O'Shaughnessy, and Rashad Breeland, the former Redskin and Packer, was there.
Andy Reid and Mahomes, rare to see the head coach, but remember, Andy Reid is the magician here working this offense. Communication so key with Mahomes, who is mature beyond his years.
Jacksonville, 2nd and 10. Fewest offensive touchdowns in the league last season, 22. They had 25 total, also the lowest. Fournette, flag thrown. It was in the backfield, 4-yard pickup. Hitchens with the tackle.
Holding, number 60, offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Veteran Carl Cheffers, NFL Today update, JB and Boomer in New York.
Jets D.
Well, JB, if you're a quarterback, you got to be accurate. And right here, Josh Allen is not the Cole Beasley. That ball's deflected in the air. Free agent signee C.J. Mosley comes up with a pick. The Jets missed their extra point with their new kicker, Corey Vedvik. They take the lead, 6-0.
Ian, Dan, and Evan.
So they get the touchdown from a new face, guys, but then a missed extra point as the kicking woes continue for New York. 10-0 lead here for Kansas City. 2nd and 20 after the penalty. Foles, protection holds up. Fires it to Swain. And not a big gain there as Ward was spying in 2.5 yards on the pickup, 3rd and long for the Jaguars.
Now, you know Steve Spagnuolo, the DC for Kansas City, is known for blitzing, but today he may not have to because of the inexperience at both tackle positions for Jacksonville. He may be able to play a lot more zone today and just rush 4 guys. Of course, a couple of those 4 guys are going to be going against those inexperienced tackles in Frank Clark and Alex Okafor.
It's his 8th year with Andy Reid. Spent so much time together in Philadelphia. Spagnuolo going on to win a Super Bowl with the Giants as the defensive coordinator. 3rd and 18. Foles gets out of trouble and delivers. First down toss to Conley with a flag thrown after the hit. He took a shot, and the former Chief holds on.
That's big play for Foles and for Conley. It appears we're going to add 15 to the end of this catch. Catch was good for 20 yards. Super job by Foles stepping up and slipping out of a tackle.
When we talked to Doug Marrone about Foles, he said, look, I think he's at the point where he knows exactly who he is. He's comfortable with it, and he appreciates that as a coach. They can have direct conversations, honest back and forths. What Foles likes, what he doesn't like.
Now we're having a conversation back and forth right now by the officials trying to figure out, was this an intentional hit to the
Personal
head?
Foul, number 22.
Apparently so.
Defense.
Juan
Lowering the
Thornhill,
head
the rookie.
to initiate contact. 15 yards will be added to the end of the play. Automatic. First down.
2nd round pick out of Virginia. Gene Steratore back in our New York studios. Our rules analyst watching this. What'd you think, Gene?
Our first illegal use of the helmet of the season, Ian, and that is the indicator with the crown of the helmet as a 22 does dip his head and initiate forcible contact with the crown of his helmet. They discussed it. It's one we didn't see a bunch of, a lot of emphasis early in the year, and I think it's a good call to start that off for the season.
All right, Gene, that was on a 3rd and 18, so look where Jacksonville is. Set up the screen. Oh, nice hop step by Fournette. Leonard Fournette is lighter than he was last year. He said he's playing at 226 pounds, the same weight he played at LSU. And jawing, some pushing and shoving after the play as well.
Well, because he's lost weight, he's got this quickness back. Watch the footwork here as he gets away from the first tackler and then down the field.
Fournette spent 3 months training in Wyoming, working with his former strength coach at LSU. He said he got his mind right, he got his body right, and he admitted that he needed it.
He got away from Frank Clark, who read the screen and was out in front of it.
Handoff. Fournette. 2-yard run inside for Fournette. So Fournette was at the University of Wyoming. And by his own admission, he needed to do something. 2018 was such a disappointment for him. Fournette played in just 8 games. He dropped somewhere in the area of 20 pounds.
Yeah, he wanted to get back to the player he was back in 2017. Says it's the greatness is in you, it will come out again. I think it did on that screen pass.
2nd and 8. Swain shifts over to the line. Fake it. Protection is there. Foles through the hands of Fournette. And he was greeted immediately by Hitchens, the linebacker. So now it's 3rd and long for Jacksonville.
Well, last time they faced a 3rd and long, it was 3rd and 18, and Conley picked up 20 and got an extra bonus of 15. They're not quite in field goal range yet. But Lambeau does have a strong leg and be imperative for them to come away with at least 3. It would be a 53-yarder if they don't gain anything on this play.
Dime package here for Kansas City. This is a defense that was ranked 31st overall last season, 24th in points allowed. Shotgun for Foles. Foles steps. Deep one. End zone. Caught. Touchdown. DJ Chark, the over-the-shoulder grab. And a major highlight for the Jaguars. Nick Foles, 35 yards.
He showed his toughness too because the pressure was on. He hung in there to the last instant and then threw a perfect rainbow to the 6'4" Shark. Watch the adjustment Shark makes over the shoulder under duress. Touchdown Jacksonville. You can't cover it much closer than that tuck. Fuller on the coverage. But remember, oblique problems for Foles coming into this game on his right side. It appears he's holding his left side, but he took a shot.
Lambeau on for the extra point. And he converts 7 plays, 75 yards, 3 minutes and 34 seconds. But concern now around Nick Foles after taking that shot. And it was 2 shots. But you could see Foles complaining as he made his way to the sideline. He's injured.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Microsoft Surface. And by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Push button. Get mortgage.
Nick Foles throws his first touchdown as a Jaguar, but moments ago, Foles made his way into the Jaguars locker room, and his backup is Gardner Minshew, the rookie out of Washington State, 6th round draft pick. And Minshew is just tossing the ball along the sideline. He's getting his mouthpiece in and his helmet ready. Jaguars kick it off. Logan Cook on the kickoff. And not much of a return there for Kansas City, as Ronnie Harrison was ready on special teams.
Here's the hit. He gets sandwiched between Clark and Jones, and then Jones takes him to the ground and full body on top of him.
Yeah, this is interesting. Gene Steratore joins us right now. That's a penalty recently in the NFL, Gene.
You know, I'm going to disagree a little bit, only in the fact that Clark makes contact at the same time, which also puts Foles in a different position as that tackle was being made, as opposed to 95 just making this tackle on his own. You've got other influence there from being blocked into the quarterback as well. I'm glad they stayed off of it personally, guys.
All right, Gene. He did land on him, and that's something that we would keep an eye on, as we know from this position in trying to protect quarterbacks. Flag was thrown after the toss to Damian Williams. And Carl Cheffers will fill us in.
Illegal formation, offense. There was no eligible receiver on the end of the line. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Let's go down to the field, check in with Evan Washburn.
Well, Lion, on the injury side of things, never a good sign. Nick Foles did not go to the locker room. He went right to the x-ray room. And it's that left arm and shoulder area that was pretty immobile. You saw as he took that hit, all of his weight on that left side, that left shoulder, that left arm. He's currently getting x-rays, nothing official from the team, but we'll let you know when we have it.
All right, Ev. LaShawn McCoy is on the field for Kansas City. McCoy on a 1-year deal. Toss it to the outside. Sammy Watkins wouldn't go down initially, and Watkins holds on to the football with Boyer and Harrison bunched up there. 13 yards on the hookup. What does McCoy bring to this offense potentially, Dan?
Well, I think you want to get him out in space because he's so elusive. Always seems to make the first guy miss. And when you have all this other talent around him, the speed and the size of Kelsey over the middle, Hill and Watkins, it's going to be a fun year for Shady McCoy.
Andy Reid said he's 31, but he still has that love for the game. And here is McCoy. First carry as a Chief. They'll move the chains as he crosses the 40-yard line. Duvernay, Tardif, and Schwartz key blocks up front. 13-yard rip.
Yeah, here they are right here, 77 and 72. Watch the patience of McCoy. Lets it develop. Cuts to the outside, and then the burst up the field. Good for 13.
So a lot of mixing and matching here with Kansas City. A lot of different looks. They go trips, and McCoy single setback. Mahomes has him shift over on first down. It's McCoy. Left his feet, picked up 2. Avery Jones and Yannick Ngakoue there defensively for Jacksonville. Well, Shady McCoy, what did he think when the word was announced that he had signed on with Kansas City? This was his Instagram post, that he was truly thankful and excited. And the fact that he gets to play for Andy Reid once again, there's a lot of respect there on both sides. McCoy had some monster years in Philadelphia under Reid. 2nd and 8. Mahomes on time. Tyreek Hill. It's a first down. Covers 10 yards. Jalen Ramsey with a tackle. And Hill in some pain. NFL Today update, JB and Boomer.
Boomer, questions about Lamar coming into the season?
Well, what was the passing game going to look like? Well, if it looks like this to Marquise Brown, the rookie out of Oklahoma, everything's going to be just fine in Baltimore. This is the 2nd touchdown of the day for this young rookie. 83 yards. They are just destroying the Dolphins 21-0 at this point.
I think I see a smile on Dan Fouts down there in Jacksonville. Back to Ian, Dan, and Evan.
Yeah, he's smiling. Mahomes, he's smiling too.
Yeah, no kidding. So it's
Sammy Watkins! Touchdown! The Legion of Zoom strikes again. 49 yards. And Watkins is rolling.
4 catches, 151, and those 2 scores. Little play action pass, protection awesome, and nobody near number 14. As he coasts in the end zone twice now in the first quarter.
Mahomes is 8 of 9, 211 yards, 2 touchdowns. Andy Reid, just like he drew it up. Extra point is right down the middle for Butker. 17-7, Kansas City. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from State Farm.
Well, 2nd touchdown catch of the afternoon for Sammy Watkins. We'll check out how he got so wide open. On a drag route, then down the field, and just absolutely beautiful design by Andy Reid. Here we go. You just don't see guys get that wide open in the NFL.
Booming kick from Butker. It's coming out to the 25-yard line. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that was searching for stability at quarterback. They go out, they sign Nick Foles to a 4-year, $88 million deal, but at the 2:36 mark of the first quarter of the first game, Gardner Minshew, the rookie from Washington State, is in at quarterback. The Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Year, transferred from East Carolina. 6th round draft pick, 24 years old. And he's thrown into the fire. Handoff, Fournette. The hesitation from Fournette turns it into a 5-yard gain. We check in with Evan Washburn.
Well, guys, you can get used to much more Minshew because Nick Foles, unfortunately, out for the remainder of this game with a left shoulder injury. And Tyreek Hill, you mentioned it, he is currently in the cart heading to the Chiefs locker room. No visible area of concern, but he is definitely in some discomfort. As soon as we get something official on Tyreek Hill, we'll let you know. But Nick Foles is out for this one with a left shoulder injury.
And it happened on the touchdown pass for Nick Foles. Under 2 minutes to go now in the first. Minshew will throw it for the first time. It's complete. Hits his man underneath. Chris Conley for 9.
Well,
and enough for a first down.
You know that Minshew can throw the ball. I mean, he played for Mike Leach at Washington State. Here's Hill in the golf cart. It appeared that he landed on his shoulder when tackled very violently by Jalen Ramsey on the sideline.
Nick Foles made a name for himself, stepping in under tough circumstances as a quarterback. And now it's Gardner Minshew trying to do the same. Gibbons to Fournette, turns the corner. Fournette tripped up. Looked like Fournette was going to take that sideline. Got a block from Seth DeValve, the tight end. And it's a 12-yard pickup for Fournette.
We go back to look at the injury to Tyreek Hill on the sideline. Ramsey closing quickly after the completion. and then his full body weight lands on top of Hill and results in a trip to the locker room for Hill.
Yeah, Ramsey had a little something at the end as well. 3 tight ends, O'Shaughnessy, Swaim, and DeValve. Gardner Minshew at midfield. On the ground, Fournette grinds out 2.
Now this has to be the formula now for the Jags. Heavy doses of Fournette, taking time off the clock and keeping that Kansas City offense on the bench.
Minshew is working with Westbrook, Shark, and Conley, the wide receivers. Mahomes, first quarter numbers, Dan. 211, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and remember, he missed a wide open Kelsey for a touchdown.
He went no look.
No completion, no touchdown. That's okay.
End of 1 in Jacksonville. Nick Foles has been knocked out of the game by the Kansas City defense. The Chiefs offense alive and kicking, 17-7. Patrick Mahomes, 211 passing yards, most in a first quarter by any quarterback since 2004. Peyton Manning had 247.
His protection's been awesome so far. One time he was forced out of the pocket. Oh, what did he do? He hit Kelsey for 42 yards.
Gardner Minshew had 4,776 yards, 38 touchdowns, 9 picks last year at Washington State. 2nd and 8. Minshew standing in the pocket, hits his man Conley. Turns it upfield. Conley is still going. Finally tripped up as he crossed the 30-yard line. He made Hitchens miss and turned it into a gain of 20 on the play.
Boy, Minshew showed me a lot on this play. Waiting for his receiver to come open, but there's his long road to here in Florida.
Yeah, there's a lot on the resume. Troy University enrollee, but didn't play in the spring of 2015. Went the junior college route, won a national championship, part-time starter in East Carolina. He was recruited to be the backup in Alabama, but got a call from Mike Leach and went out to Pullman. Put up huge numbers. Inside the 30, handoff Fournette. Flag down as Fournette is wrestled down at the 25. Picked up a yard and a half.
Holding. Number 75, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's the 2nd-round pick from Florida, Jawan Taylor, who's 6'5", 312 pounds. He was 380 at one point in high school.
And the offensive line, except for obviously the play that Foles get hurt on, get a touchdown, but he gets hurt, it's out for the rest of the game. They've not allowed a sack yet, and Minshew looks very comfortable standing in the pocket behind this makeshift offensive line.
Well, we asked Doug Marrone about him. He said, oh, no, he can sling it.
Yeah.
There's no question about his arm strength. Minshew is listed at 6'1". Shotgun, 1st and 20. Minshew to Westbrook. Couldn't break away from Kendall Fuller. The slot corner, 5-yard pickup, and that's where Westbrook will do a lot of his dirty work. When we asked Nick Foles about Westbrook, he said he's got a great feel, excellent route runner. He just knows how to get open. And Foles said, look, opening week, you have the excitement, you have the nerves. All these things are swimming around your head. But the last thing you're thinking about is you're going to be injured in the first quarter in your first game as a Jaguar. 2nd and 15. Give it to Fournette. Ran into his own man, and Damian Wilson helped make sure that he wasn't going to burst through that hole. 2-yard gain for Leonard Fournette.
Now Fournette thinks he's got something to the left side, but coming in so quickly, as you called, Damian Wilson stops him before he can really get anything out of that play. This is very important for Minshew to remember. Cannot take a sack here. That would make a very long field goal for Josh Lambo.
3rd and 13 now for Jacksonville. Minshew operating out of the gun. Minshew dials it up and hits Chris Conley. What do you do now?
Yeah, he read the blitz that time and got it to his hot receiver. Here comes Lambo. There's your answer. Watch the pressure. Sorensen coming in the corner off the slot. Minshew coolly knows where to go with the ball. He slings another perfect pass.
Well, 4th down. They're going to take the points here. 37-yard attempt for Josh Lambo. Lambo converts. Minshew, 4 of 4 for 43 yards in his pro debut. Jaguars down by 7 to Kansas City. Back here in Jacksonville, Jaguars inch a little closer here to the Chiefs. Gardner Minshew directing Jacksonville on a 6-minute drive and looking very comfortable in doing so. Nick Foles knocked out of the game in the first quarter. And Josh Lambo now will kick it off. That's over the head of Hardman, coming out to the 25. It's been the Sammy Watkins show for the Chiefs so far, Dan.
Huge first quarter for Watkins. It's a very vanilla zone defense. A shallow crossing route in the middle of that zone. A missed tackle by Jared Wilson. 68 yards, touchdown. Then a shallow cross. Nobody to miss a tackle here because nobody is around Watkins as he goes in from 49 yards. 4 catches for 151 yards and those 2 scores for Watkins.
It is a shoulder injury for Tyreek Hill. His return is questionable. Sammy Watkins having a monster day. Fake the handoff. Mahomes, the touch, hits his man Travis Kelce. The Chiefs are relentless. Separation from Miles Jack turns it into a 41-yard pass play.
Well, the protection is what's key here because these are deep crossing routes. Kelce against the middle linebacker. What a move on Miles Jack right there. Expecting the crossing route. Kelce, a big target for Mahomes, and Mahomes delivers one more time. 9 of 10 now for Mahomes for 252.
They met last year. It was week 5. Kansas City beat Jacksonville 30-14. Running play, Williams got to the outside, and Jalen Ramsey there to greet him. 3-yard pickup. And what stands out about that game from last year, it was the only game where Patrick Mahomes didn't throw a touchdown. So you think of it, oh, that's a win in many ways for Jacksonville's defense, but they still lost by a wide margin.
And Mahomes threw a couple of picks in that game, but it's still a 16-point win.
And that was the first sign that Jacksonville was in some serious trouble. They were 3-1 heading into that game. They finished the season 5-11, injury-riddled season. Mahomes slings it to Watkins, breaks a tackle. Sammy Watkins is putting on a show. A.J. Boye, the whiff.
Well, he's showing that he is in tremendous shape over all those foot injuries he had when he was with the Buffalo Bills. Missed tackle there by Boye, but look at this quickness. Tremendous move right there.
What did Andy Reid tell us when we asked him about Watkins? He said, this kid does everything right. He's a great guy. He hasn't missed anything in camp. We're just really pulling for him to stay healthy and keep it together.
No, you'd need 15 defenders to double team all these great receivers.
1st and goal. Mahomes too high. Looking for Kelce. And a rare incompletion, just the 2nd of the day. Coverage there from Ronnie Harrison, the safety.
I like that choice, though, going to Kelce. Remember, he's 6'5" and very athletic. Chiefs really don't have a fade type of receiver with really outstanding size other than Kelce down here.
Williams in the backfield. 2 tight ends, Kelce and Bell. 2nd and goal. Fake it. Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes just covers up. He is exposed at that point for someone to take a shot.
Now they're going to, too. He gets down a little bit late here and takes a shot there from Jack right to the face mask. That should have been called. Almost ripped his helmet off.
3rd and goal. From the gun. Mahomes in trouble. Mahomes loses the ball. And it's recovered. Eric Fisher, the starting left tackle, jumps on top of it. A flag and, a free-for-all in the end zone. This has been building throughout this first half. The officials get in there to try to limit the issues, and Mahomes is limping.
Yeah, that's the key point here. What they're doing in the end zone really doesn't matter. This is what matters, is why is he limping on that left leg?
Patrick Mahomes needs assistance coming off the field.
He was trying to buy time by stepping up into the pocket, and the pocket just collapsed. Josh Allen, the rookie, gets his first NFL sack. Watch Allen, 41 here.
Ngakoue was in there. We're keeping an eye on the legs of Mahomes, the lower legs.
Yeah, it looked like Allen's legs kind of swung into the leg of Mahomes. And sometimes when you are injured like that, the ball just finds its way out of your hands. Watch Allen's legs. Right on that left leg.
And there are flags littered in the end zone. There was a flag in the end zone very early. And then when both teams got into it, the flag started flying. So there's a lot to uncover here.
You might assume it's...
Yeah, Jack with a shove, and then chatting, and then another push, and then a swing.
Now that's an ejection swing right there. You can see the official threw the initial flag and then tossed his helmet.
So Jack and Watkins got into it. Watkins was standing over him. Jack retaliated. He got a push from behind by Robinson. And then Jack took a shot. We saw the back and forth earlier between Ramsey and Tyreek Hill. Hill exited with a shoulder injury. And Matt Moore, who was just signed by the Chiefs to step in for Chad Henne, who got injured, has put his helmet on.
And he's buckled the chin strap, and he's going in, it appears, once we sort out all these penalties.
12-year veteran. Mahomes is in the tent.
Multiple fouls by both teams on the play. Illegal contact number 44. Personal foul. Swing and contact number 44. That player has been disqualified.
Miles Jack.
Unnecessary, unsportsmanlike contact.
Oh, Jack wants some more. His teammates trying to calm him down at this point and just hold him back.
26. Unsportsmanlike conduct number 11 on the defense.
Mahomes is out of the tent and just testing
conduct number 26
his ankles.
And number 11 on the offense. All those fouls offset. Replay third down.
And Jack does not want to leave.
Now the penalty's offset, but the big loss is obviously Miles Jack.
Miles Jack. They're just trying to get him to a point where he cools off and exits the field. Being escorted right now. We check in with Evan Washburn downstairs.
Well, guys, Patrick Mahomes showing some toughness here. Left ankle or foot has a heavy tape job on it. He came out of the tent there, put some weight on it, some test throws demanding his helmet. Obviously, he has that now, and he's getting himself, or he would like to get himself back in this game. But again, it looks to be that left foot and ankle area. Little tender, but obviously fighting through it.
Yeah, he's there.
And really the bonus he got was all the fight in the end zone and all the referees trying to figure it out. So he had time to be checked out in the tent and get taped up.
And the other bonus is they get to replay third down. Najee Good steps in for Miles Jack. This is a 3rd and goal for Kansas City. Mahomes back in there.
Keep your eye on Kelsey here.
Mahomes looking. Mahomes throws underneath. Catch made by Robinson. Tried to circle to create an angle, and he spilled out for no gain. Mahomes took a shot at the end of it. The officials get in between the Jaguars and the Chiefs after the tackle.
Really good pressure again by the Jags on Mahomes. You can see that's the second-year player, Taven Bryan, with the pressure, and Ngakoue as well. But Mahomes unable to escape out of the pocket, as we've seen him do so many times because of that left foot injury.
We are at the 8:08 mark of the second quarter of week 1. We've had a lot happen in a short period of time. Harrison Butker has been as good as anybody under 40 yards. And he drills it from 25. Kansas City has a 20-10 lead on Jacksonville. Mahomes banged up, but remained in there for the Chiefs. Second quarter action continues.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. Modelo, a taste that's pure gold, brewed for those with a fighting spirit. And by Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL.
Kansas City 20, Jacksonville 10, 7:56 to play. Second quarter here in Florida. Nick Foles done for the day, so the Jaguars have lost their starting quarterback. Miles Jack has been ejected from the game. He played every defensive snap last season for Jacksonville, and Foles has rejoined his teammates on the sideline.
Well, he's very valuable on the sidelines for Gardner Minshew. Minshew off to an outstanding start, coming in cold on a very hot day, 4 for 4 for 43 yards, and cool in the pocket.
You might ask Minshew, why was he interested in being a backup in Alabama? He was interested in becoming a graduate assistant coach under Nick Saban because he has desires down the road. And Mike Leach basically said, hey, you want to lead the country in passing? Minshew, deep ball, separation, DJ Chark! Chark with a stiff arm on Ward, and Chark is still going! Big play downfield for Jacksonville. 69 yards downfield, nice.
Tyrann Mathieu is going to be up here to stop the run. Good play action, time to throw, and he puts this ball out, knows middle safety because Mathieu was up there looking for the run. Watch as this ball comes down perfectly to Chark.
On a give, Fournette, and he's bunched up with a flag thrown at the 7-yard line. Jabbering going on between Fournette and Hitchens.
Yeah, the tempers are as high as the temperature.
Holding, number 68, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's the veteran Andrew Norwell starting at left guard. So back it up for the Jaguars. We are talking about over 500 yards of offense in the first half already.
You got a problem with that?
No. Hey, Air Coryell, I got no issues. Love the O.
Neat too.
Now Nick Foles, this is not what he envisioned in his Jaguar debut.
Yeah, bad sign in a sling like that.
First and goal, but back it up to the 16-yard line for Jacksonville. Minshew, fake the handoff, toss it to the flat, and Westbrook has no room to work. Chiefs were ready for it, led by Fuller and Thornhill. They're very high on Juan Thornhill, and when we talked to Tyrann Mathieu about him, he said, oh, he's a natural playmaker, serious about his work. He has the ability to affect the game at a young age.
He's got good hands. He can play the deep ball well. We'll see him as the deep safety, especially with Mathieu wanting to play in the box.
Second and goal, Fournette, single setback. Shotgun for Minshew. Minshew out of the pocket. Minshew, the zigzag, buys time. Minshew is down. He tried a number of juke moves with no defenders really in the area to bite on them, but still turned it into 6.
he's got to also realize he's the last man standing in the quarterback room. Good mobility here. He makes a couple of miss, and then smartly will get down.
He's listed at 225, so there's some meat on the bones at 6'1". Became a folk hero, not only because of the gaudy numbers, but the mustache last year.
Everybody in the Palouse was wearing a mustache, the Minshew mustache.
They'll shift it. Lee will now go to the outside. Play clock is down to 1. Minshew gets the playoff on 3rd and goal. Pump and throw underneath to O'Shaughnessy, and he's wrapped up at the 5. 4th down. They picked up 7. Field goal unit coming on for Jacksonville. That penalty was a killer after the big pass play.
Yeah, but they're hanging in there with this backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew. Field goal here cuts the lead to 7. We don't know about the mobility of Mahomes and how well he'll perform with that left foot.
Short field goal attempt here for Josh Lambo, former Charger. And he's got it from 23 yards away. Kansas City 20, Jacksonville 13. Just over 4 minutes to go in this second quarter. A lot of fireworks in Jacksonville. Huge numbers for the Kansas City Chiefs. Mahomes has 274 yards, 2 touchdowns. Watkins, 5 catches, 173 yards. But Jacksonville hanging around here with their backup quarterback, Gardner Minshew, in. Josh Lambo kicks it off, and this one is coming out to the 25. Well, this summer, Jacksonville's Calais Campbell hosted the Calais Campbell Jax Pal Youth Football and STEM Camp. Kids aged 5 to 16 took part in a morning of football agility drills to work both the body and the mind. They connected science, technology, engineering, and math with the game of football. Calais is heavily involved in the community here in Jacksonville. He's got initiatives each month along the way going to different charities. He's one of the real good guys in the National Football League. Mahomes set up the screen. Damian Williams emerging from that crowd, and Williams has got a big gain for a 1st down.
Again, the Chiefs using a lot of smoke and mirrors with their formations and with their motions and their personnel groups. But it always comes down to making a couple of guys miss. Look at the offensive line down in front. And again, Mahomes.
Yeah, with that left ankle.
Yep.
And the gait is not fluid right now for Patrick Mahomes. Darwin Thompson is in. He's a rookie out of Utah State. Toss it to Kelsey. This time Jacksonville was ready for him with Quincy Williams, the brother of Quinnen Williams, 3rd overall pick of the Jets. We check in with Evan Washburn.
Guys, just to further sort of follow Mahomes here, that entire Jags series, he tried to spend as much of it up on his feet, keeping that ankle, that foot warm. He was able to get in some warm-up passes, but to your point, some discomfort. And also, just to update folks, still no sign of Tyreek Hill. He left in the final minutes of the 1st quarter with a shoulder injury.
And the line has to do a better job of protecting their wounded quarterback. He can't step into it, and he throws, and he gets pummeled after he throws it on that play.
McCole Hardman, the motion man. And a cut through the inside for 4 yards. And it's once again Damian Williams, former Miami Dolphin. They liked what they saw out of Williams at the end of last year into the postseason, when Kareem Hunt was no longer in the mix. It was Williams who ended up emerging of that group that they had, and they rewarded him with a contract. Big play here on 3rd and 1. LaShawn McCoy will move the chains inside the 45. They went with an extra offensive lineman, Jumbo, for 4.
Well, what you saw is a veteran move by McCoy, knowing he needed very short yardage to pick up the 1st down. No fancy stuff there. He just got low behind that offensive line.
Dan, we have an update on Tyreek Hill. He is out for the day. Shoulder.
Boy, 3 major players out with injuries. 2 with injuries, 1 with an ejection.
2-minute warning. Kansas City has a new set of downs to work with.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. the network more people rely on. And by Jersey Mike Subs. Be a sub above.
Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower. Latest NFL scores and highlights all coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. Kansas City 20, Jacksonville 13. Hot offense, 329 yards for Kansas City, 222 for Jacksonville. Mahomes from the gun, set it up underneath. Sammy Watkins. Watkins circles and turns it into a gain. Could have been a loss. Instead, he picks up 5. Everything Watkins has touched has turned to gold today.
And that was a screen pass to the right. He made it a screen pass to the left and still picked up yardage.
Major tackling issues today for Jacksonville, and they lose Miles Jack on the ejection. They lost Nick Foles in the first quarter. Mahomes has gone over 300 yards passing in the first half. 302. Second down and 5. Mahomes, another quick hitter. Williams, stop and go. He's got a little spin. And a first down.
And another missed tackle by the Jaguars. Quincy Williams, fans there. Would have been short of the first down if he makes this tackle.
So a first down for Kansas City, just short of the 30-yard line. Darwin Thompson is in, and they'll toss it to him. Thompson could not break away from Quincy Williams. He's the rookie out of Utah State. And we got a problem along the sideline at the end of that play. Darwin Thompson is 5'8", 200. He was trying to break free of the tackle.
And one thing Andy Reid is doing to protect his quarterback is he's getting the ball out quickly. The last 3 passes have been short passes. Let's check out the injury.
Quincy Williams got enough of him. Kept sliding there. Williams torn meniscus right knee on August the 1st, had arthroscopic surgery, so missed a ton of time. It was a question mark as to whether or not he would even play here in week 1. It was remarkable that he got back.
Well, watch Thompson come down as they continue to roll.
He kept sliding.
Yep. And they're looking at the right leg.
Third round pick. Murray State, known as a sideline to sideline linebacker.
Not real big at 5'11", 225, but very fast.
Evan Washburn downstairs. Evan?
Well, guys, I happened to be right there when Quincy Williams hit the sideline, ran into a few staff members for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you mentioned that right knee. They were testing the stability of that right knee for Quincy Williams with the athletic trainers. And as you can see right now, I mean, not walking with any sort of urgency. Clearly a bit of uneasy feeling with that right leg and right knee area for Williams. We'll get an update on everything at halftime here and try and keep everybody up to date on who's in and who's out to start the third.
Yeah, he's jogging now, so better sign for Quincy. DJ Alexander will step in that spot, who is a Pro Bowler as a special teamer. He's played with Kansas City, Seattle, and Philadelphia.
And he was on the injury report with a hamstring problem, so less than 100%.
Patrick Mahomes, career high in any half in his young career, 312 yards. Fake it. Mahomes. Downfield, nobody home. A crowd of Jaguars. Watkins in the area. Boyer was there stride for stride. And it's 3rd and 7.
Mahomes just throwing that ball away. If his left foot was okay, left ankle was okay, we might have seen him try to extend that play because he had absolutely nothing to Watkins near the goal line.
You think back a year ago when he got the start against the Chargers, first time that he had been handed the keys to the car, and Mahomes said to us, look, I know there was a mystery a year ago of how I would do as a starter. Now I know what to expect in that role. 3rd and 7. Mahomes flails it, and a flag down. Mahomes was going down as he threw it. And a second flag, so one in the secondary and one where Mahomes was brought down by Calais Campbell. Is that intentional grounding? As Mahomes at the last moment
by both
released.
Teams on the play. Illegal contact. Number 21, defense. Intentional grounding. Number 15, offense. Those fouls offset. 3rd down. Correction, the foul is defensive holding on the defense.
Here's the hold on Boye on Kelsey.
Yep.
Hits him right up around the horse collar. And here's Mahomes just getting rid of the ball dangerously, but with that penalty wouldn't have counted the interception.
And his body was contorting as he chucked it. 3rd and 7 now. We're down to 33 seconds to play in this action-packed first half. Low snap. Mahomes guns it. Knocked up in the air. Incomplete. Watkins got a hand on it, but the Jacksonville defense holds and forces 4th down. Jared Wilson tried to get under it off the deflection.
Again, you can see Mahomes just can't step into his throw. That's why the ball sails on him. And Watkins avoids a big hit from Ronnie Harrison right here.
So now Kansas City is looking at a 46-yard attempt with Harrison Butker. He's made a 28-yarder and a 25-yarder. From 46 yards away, Butker. He nails it. Kansas City extends the lead 23-13 with 24 seconds to go first half. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Jif Peanut Butter. NFL kickoff weekend here in Jacksonville. Kansas City's got a 10-point lead on the Jaguars with 24 seconds to go in this first half. Harrison Butker, after converting on his 3rd field goal, will kick it off to Tyler Ervin. Another big kick from Butker. Coming up, Verizon halftime report. JB and the gang back in New York. Latest NFL scores and highlights. All coming up. Verizon halftime report. So Gardner Minshew is 7 of 7 to start his NFL career. The last player to open up his NFL career 8 of 8, RG3 in 2012. The last quarterback to open up 9 of 9, Brad Johnson for Minnesota, 1994. They have 2 timeouts, 24 seconds left. Minshew to throw it. Fournette, stiff arm, and Minshew is 8 of 8.
And smart throw. He's got the swing route, the outlet to his running back, who quickly gets out of bounds. Pair of timeouts with 19 seconds. It's a tall order. But remember, Lambeau's got a big leg. They could squeeze a field goal out before the end of the first half. That would be absolutely gigantic for the Jaguars.
Lambeau played professional soccer. He was a goalie.
Need about 30 yards to get him within range.
Second down, 19 seconds left. Minshew is 8 of 8. Minshew is 8 of 9.
With a flag.
Flag down at the 20.
Yeah, it's escaping the pocket really puts the offensive tackle
number
in a bind.
75. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
And it is Jawan Taylor.
And that was the side of the offensive line that Minshew was escaping the pocket. See that call a lot.
So now you take a knee. At this point, 13 seconds left. No reason for Doug Marrone and the Jaguars to take any chances here. It does not go down as an incompletion, though, so Minshew is 8 of 8. Well, maybe they have a different philosophy. 13 seconds left. Minshew to throw it. And he does to Swain. And Gardner Minshew has opened his NFL career hitting on his first 9 passes, the first quarterback to do that since Brad Johnson with the Vikings in '94. We have hit the break in Jacksonville. The Chiefs 23, the Jaguars 13. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Getting ready for the start of the second half here in Jacksonville, 23-13. The Chiefs in front. Let's check out our first half highlight presented by DirecTV. Patrick Mahomes, Sammy Watkins, second touchdown of the day for these two.
Really well-designed play, perfectly executed, time to throw, and a wide-open Watkins for a huge first half.
Ian Eagle along with Dan Fouts, Evan Washburn down on the sidelines. The rest of our NFL on CBS crew. Nearly 600 yards of offense in that first half. Jaguars lose their starting quarterback, Nick Foles. Potential collarbone issue there for Foles. Miles Jack is done, ejected from the game. Tyreek Hill for the Chiefs, shoulder injury. He's out. A lot has happened in one half of football. The Kansas City offense still very dynamic.
Yeah, they've been unstoppable in that first half, but I think the story the first half may be Gardner Minshew keeping the Jags in the game, number one, but also giving them hope in the second half that, hey, we can hang with these guys. Defensively, we're going up against an injured quarterback in Mahomes, and offensively, kid's cool.
Yeah, left ankle injury for Patrick Mahomes. He stayed in there after a major tape job in the tent. Minshew has not missed on a throw yet. Minshew has not looked overwhelmed by any stretch. The rookie out of Washington State. We'll take a look at the numbers from the first half. And 345 total yards for Kansas City. I mean, even by the Chiefs standards, that is gaudy. But the fact that Jacksonville has been able to hang, that's the encouraging sign for the Jaguars. Down by 10 at the break. And Jacksonville will get the football to open up this second half. Butker to kick it off to Irvin. Kansas City has won 4 straight season openers. The most potent offense in the league last year. Over the head of Irvin, out to the 25. We check in with Evan.
Well, guys, spoke to both coaches, but first let's do a little who's in, who's out right now, because a lot to sort through. Nick Foles out with that left shoulder injury, happened early in this game. Miles Jack ejected. Other inside linebacker, Quincy Williams, suffered a right knee injury. He is back out there. He has a sleeve on that right knee. Tyreek Hill out with a shoulder injury. Main point from Doug Marrone, he said Minshew got about 80% of the snaps in the preseason. Nick Foles barely played. So there's a comfort in that regard. And not scaling back too much with this playbook, guys.
And Minshew is 9 of 9 to start his NFL career. Trying to establish Fournette, gets to the outside, and cuts out of bounds after the gain of 5.
But that's really a good sign for the Jaguars, is Fournette showing the speed to get to the corner. That will set up a lot of important runs in between the tackles. If he can show that speed to the sideline, just what the Jags need here throughout this season, as he is the guy.
25th year in franchise history for the Jaguars. They've had 7 playoff appearances. Got to the AFC Championship game 2017, lost to New England in a game where they had chances. Fournette, a spin move, it is just short of the line to gain. Damian Wilson there defensively, and a flag down. 2 of them, 3 of them.
Yeah, they're going to get Will Richardson, as you could hear the Chiefs all yelling, "That's a hold, that's a hold." And 3 officials agreed.
Penalties in that first half, 4 against Jacksonville, 2 against Kansas City.
And he's got a good grip on Frank Clark's neck and shoulders.
Carl Cheffers.
Fouls by both teams on the play. Holding, number 76, offense. Tripping, number 55, defense. Those penalties offset. Second down.
Yeah, the leg whip by Clark.
Yeah, a little retaliation move by Frank Clark.
Clark acquired in a deal with Seattle, then given a 5-year, $105 million contract extension. Said he felt comfortable in Kansas City from the start, loves playing for Andy Reid, said he's a lot like Pete Carroll, a player's coach.
Hey, Bronco, 50.
Second and 4. Minshew on a handoff. Fournette lowers the helmet and lunges for a yard. Noddy and Darren Lee combined to bring him down. Reggie Ragland inactive for Kansas City.
There's so many new faces on this Chief defense that chemistry, building that chemistry throughout the season, especially early in the season, they're going to rely on people like Frank Clark and newcomer Alex Okafor and, of course, Tyrann Mathieu.
It's funny, when we asked Frank Clark about Patrick Mahomes going against him every day in practice, he said, hey, I got to be honest. I thought it was a myth. I thought Mahomes was a myth. I was wrong. He is not. He is the real deal. He's become outspoken but very humble. Minshew squeezes it into Westbrook. He is 10 of 10 on the day. Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, he looked like a real vet. Looking left and then coming back right. Watch his eyes. Looking to the left side of the field and then fires this ball to Westbrook, who is really well covered by Kendall Fuller. But the ball got to Westbrook so quickly that Fuller couldn't react.
Washington State went 11-2 last year in Minshew's graduate year. Could have gone anywhere. Initially looked like it was going to be Alabama as a backup quarterback. And then his life changed dramatically. Fake it. Minshew flings it. O'Shaughnessy. And Minshew is a perfect 11 of 11. That one covers 7 yards.
Well, I'd like to have the concession for all the mustaches he's going to be selling here in Jacksonville. Let's get a look at this kid.
His mom, Kim, played basketball at Mississippi State. D.D. Westbrook, another completion for Minshew. That's now 12 of 12 to open his NFL career. No gain on the play. Just the idea, how many completions he had last year, the repetition, the muscle memory of tossing it all over the field last season under Mike Leach.
And obviously an intelligent young man, wanted to be an offensive coordinator at some point in his life. He's got a lot of football ahead of him as he continues to make smart throws. That was a no gain, but it was a smart throw, not forcing it down the field.
So now a 3rd and 3, Jacksonville in Kansas City territory. First possession of the second half. 23-13 Chiefs. Minshew on the give. Fournette's got a lane. First down for Leonard Fournette. Blocks up front. Can and Richardson helps spring Fournette free for 14.
Yeah, good double team here too. Linder and Norwell, and that's exactly where Fournette's going to go. Good job by Norwell coming off the double team. 2 blocks for the price of 1, and Fournette benefits for 14 yards.
9 carries, 45 yards for Fournette. He's got 2 catches for 16 yards. And some good signs that we're seeing the 2017 version of Fournette, not the 2018 version. Motion man is Marquise Lee. Missed last year with the horrific knee injury. Fournette, good decision. The vision by Fournette cannot break away from Mathieu. A.J. Can, the block up front, 6-yard pickup. So here are the numbers for Fournette. Went over 1,000 yards in his rookie year, had 9 rushing touchdowns, didn't get to 100 yards rushing in any games last season. And by his own admission, he just kind of lost his way last year.
And he's halfway to 100 yards this afternoon.
Now at 51 on the ground. First down at the 28, 3 tight end formation.
Will. What's up?
Gardner Minshew. Handoff for Fournette. And he is swallowed up after picking up 2.
He's getting the ball almost every play here on this drive. You got to be concerned about with this heat and humidity, as he appears to be a little gassed now.
And it's a long drive. Now 5.5 minutes elapsed. And I don't know. Do you trust that? It's 123 down on the field?
Well, ask Evan. No.
Well, I can tell you, Evan's CBS Blazer, that electric blue, I'm not sure it's going to survive today.
Guys, we've got a real disaster on the back happening. But thankfully, no more on cameras till post game.
Well, that's what you said. We could go to you 7 times. 3rd and 2. Minshew. The toss. The ball is free and scooped up. Breeland has got it for Kansas City.
And that is the first career fumble for Leonard Fournette that he has lost. Told you he might be a little tired. Well, here's an example of that. The tackle from behind by Wilson. He gets the ball out. And the Chiefs have a huge turnover to start the second half.
Jacksonville had 29 turnovers last season, the 5th most in the NFL. The giveaway. First fumble that Leonard Fournette has lost as an NFL player. Have to go back to November of 2016 at Arkansas with LSU for Fournette. And the Kansas City Chiefs take over in their own territory at the 40. Mahomes gives it up. And Williams is tackled by Jones.
Damian Wilson is going to get away with a couple here. First, he got a horse collar, then the hand slides to the back of the helmet. Cannot grab any part of the inside of the helmet. And Fournette drops the ball. Fortunate non-call for the Chiefs.
And Wilson, one of the new faces for Kansas City on defense. Basically 4 returning starters, 3 or 4, depending upon how you look at it with Sorensen. Mahomes, it's a low throw. Catch is made by Watkins. And he is hit right at the line to gain by DJ Hayden. Remember, Kansas City does not have the services of DeAnthony Thomas today. Suspended 1 game for violating the league's substance abuse policy. They're down an explosive target in Tyreek Hill. But still right along schedule for Andy Reid. He told us that he's added more. Mahomes is such a smart kid. He wants more. I keep putting more on his plate. He can handle it. Mahomes has said, I'm okay with it. Andy doesn't want the offense to be stagnant. There's new stuff that can actually help the old stuff.
First charge, timeout, Jacksonville.
12 players on the field, so they take a timeout.
Yeah, Leon Jacobs came into the game and didn't have a position to play, so they had to call a timeout, which could be very costly in a 10-point game.
7:32 to go in the 3rd. Kansas City facing a 3rd and 1. Patrick Mahomes has 321 yards, 2 touchdowns. Offensive coordinator is Eric Bieniemy, now in his 2nd year. He was the running back coach, former offensive coordinator at his alma mater, Colorado, back in 2011 and 2012.
And not a bad running back in his own right.
No.
Great career at Colorado, and then with a couple of teams in the NFL.
Yeah, we always hear about the first 15 plays. First 15 plays. Andy Reid gets locked in on those.
I think he's got the first 150 plays.
I think you're right. 15 is just a round number that some guys will use. 3rd and 1. At midfield. Running play, Williams. He's got enough. Picks up 2 into Jacksonville territory. Avery Jones slams him down. The reliable defensive tackle. But they'll move the chains for Kansas City. And the clock continues to move as we approach 7 minutes to go in the 3rd.
That was 7 minutes to go in the first quarter. We already had about 7 touchdowns, didn't we?
I mean, 7, you might be conflating just a bit.
Exaggerating?
Yeah, just a bit.
Seemed like it.
On 1st down, Mahomes gets hit and still delivers to Sammy Watkins. It was a high-low hit on Patrick Mahomes, and Ngakoue was in there, 9 yards on the completion.
Yeah, they're getting to Mahomes. They're punishing Mahomes.
Ronnie Harrison was up high, and Ngakoue was lower.
Good job by Harrison, not leading with his helmet there. You see, he was trying to block the pass and then went to the shoulder of Mahomes and not to his head with his hands.
And Watkins is going off. 8 catches, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns. Double tight end set, Kelsey and Blake Bell. Running play for McCoy. You just feel a different speed when McCoy checks in. He's moving his feet. He's moving that body and trying to find holes inside.
You really hold your breath out with a type of player like McCoy because he makes so many guys miss with those quick feet and those moves. Smart player, smart runner.
6-time Pro Bowler and the NFL rushing leader in 2013. Excellent receiver, so we haven't even seen that yet, that part of his game here with Kansas City. Damian Williams, not much there. Calais Campbell hemmed him in. No gain on the play for the Chiefs. We're down to 5:25 and counting left in the third.
You're really seeing the Jaguars now load up the box and play man-to-man on the outside. Let Ramsey and Boye take care with Tyreek Hill out of the game. Their focus has got to be now on number 14, Sammy Watkins.
Mentioned Josh Allen earlier, had the sack on Mahomes. Have not called his name all that often, though. And the sack was nullified with a penalty. The pass is complete to McCoy.
Yeah, you asked for it, and you get it.
12 yards on the quick hitter and a first down.
Well, out of the backfield, look how quickly he gets it. Sharp cut to the inside. Gives the quarterback Mahomes his numbers to aim at. Another first down for the Chiefs.
Najee Good, the tackle. He has stepped in for Miles Jack, who was tossed from this game in the second quarter. First down, motion man is Hardman for Kansas City. McCoy remains in there. Mahomes offline. Trying to hit DeMarcus Robinson on the outside. Some mysteries can't be explained. Don't miss the premiere of Evil, Thursday, September 26th on CBS.
It looked like Mahomes had a little bit of trouble with that pass, stepping and throwing to his left. Remember, it's his left ankle that he appeared to sprain in that second quarter.
Chiefs will go empty here on a 2nd and 10. They'll spread it with 5. Heavily taped left ankle for Patrick Mahomes. Shotgun up in the air with a flag down. The ball popped into Mitchell Schwartz's arms. But penalty marker on the play.
Like DJ Hayden came on the corner blitz.
Offside defense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Yeah, top of the screen, you can see the offsides, the rookie Josh Allen offsides, but the pressure that time almost got to Mahomes from DJ Hayden.
So that's 5 penalties now against Jacksonville. 4 receivers set. McCoy will be used on a 2nd and 5 for Kansas City. They've got a 10-point lead on the Jaguars, looking for more. Mahomes to the end zone, incomplete. Robinson looking for the flag. And a penalty marker is thrown at the 9.
They may get DJ Alexander.
Number 36, defense.
Rather Ronnie
5-yard
Harrison.
penalty, automatic. First down.
That'll be on Kelsey.
Harrison looking for an explanation. And they got him there. Kelsey ended up tossing him out of the way. So first down for Kansas City at the 16-yard line.
That's the trouble with Kelsey. Big, strong, athletic, and got a little nastiness to him, too.
4 straight Pro Bowls for Travis Kelsey. Mahomes underneath. Anthony Sherman hit from behind, and Sherman comes up just short of the goal line. So you don't know where it's coming from, but Kansas City has got a deep playbook.
Yeah, 9 different receivers now for Mahomes in his 20 completions.
The chase down, Calais Campbell helped save the touchdown, but the ball is spotted inside the 1. First and goal, 10th play of the drive. They send Williams to the outside. Give it to him. Williams trying to cut back, and Williams is stood up. DJ Alexander helped set it on the outside. Williams lost his helmet in the process. And down goes Jalen Ramsey on the play.
Heck of a job by Alexander. He had to come from the inside here, number 57. Watch as they string this one out to the outside. Good scouting by the Jaguars. The question is Ramsey okay?
He's limping to the sideline now. So Trey Herndon is in. Second and goal. Watkins, the motion man. Shotgun, moving pocket. Mahomes, a dart. Caught! Kelsey, out of bounds.
Trying to squeeze it in here to Kelsey right by the pylon. How about that coverage by Boyer? Absolutely perfect.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, taunting. Number 36, defense. After distance to the goal, automatic first down.
It's Ronnie Harrison, and that is a crusher.
That's 2 penalties in the last 3 plays on Harrison.
You keep Kansas City out of the end zone on back-to-back plays, set up a third down, and now they get more chances. First and goal after the penalty on Harrison. 12th play of the drive. Mahomes on the give. Williams walks in. Touchdown, Kansas City. Damian Williams. 1-yard touchdown run. And the Chiefs are on the brink of another 30-point game.
Yeah, good block by Mitchell Schwartz and Laurent Duvernay-Tardif. And a walk-in touchdown.
6-year pro from Oklahoma. Undrafted in 2014. And now a big part of this Kansas City Chiefs offense. Right down the middle for Butker. And the Chiefs in front, 30-13. This was all after the fumble by Fournette. Kansas City methodically marches down the field.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Experian. Raise your credit scores instantly with Experian Boost. Domino's. Order online and track your order. And by Progressive, making it easy to bundle your home and car insurance.
'22nd straight game with 25 points or more scored, extending the record held by the Chiefs. They crack 30 points and they lead by 17 against Jacksonville. Shorter kick, Irvin is brought down shy of the 25-yard line. This year, the NFL is celebrating its 100th season. It's also the 25th season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. In just their second year, they made the playoffs, got all the way to the AFC Championship game. Of course, Tom Coughlin was the head coach. Standouts among those that year, Mark Brunell, Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardell, Tony Baselli. 25 years. Just a snap of the fingers. Goes right by you like a flash. 2:20 to go here in the third. Jaguars in a hole with Gardner Minshew in at quarterback. On a give to the wideout, Westbrook, and a collision. There's nothing there. And Juan Thornhill helped make sure of it. A flag is down right where the play took place. Penalties
Illegal
piling
block
up.
in the back. Number 87, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
It's Jeff Swaim, 8 penalties now. NFL Today update, JB Boomer in New York.
Le'Veon.
Yeah, well, Le'Veon Bell having quite the day. He's in the slot right here. Sam Darnold's going to find him for the touchdown, his first touchdown as a New York Jet. He also caught the 2-yard conversion as the Jets decided to keep their field goal kicker off the field. They now lead over the Buffalo Bills 16-0.
Back to Iron Eagle.
I'm sensing that might be their former field goal kicker.
Are you cutting a kicker
Well,
on
I'm
opening
not.
day?
I'm just reading the tea leaves here. Thanks, guys. 30-13 here. Kansas City. Minshew has to eat it. Kansas City gets to the quarterback. Emmanuel Ogbah came over in a deal with Cleveland and records his first sack as a Chief.
Yeah, it's the first sack that the Jags have given up this afternoon. And just a good job of running all the way around Jawan Taylor. Loss of 3 yards for Minshew.
Minshew is 13 of 13. Nick Foles left this game in the first quarter. Wearing the sling. Collarbone certainly could be the issue. Nearly intercepted and nearly disaster, but Okafor could not hang on to it. And Minshew has his first incompletion as a pro.
And almost his first interception as a pro would have been a pick six walk-in for Okafor as he knocks it up in the air and they just can't track it down. Watch number 97 actually read Minshew's intention there, trying to get the ball quickly to Westbrook, and almost comes away with a big play.
The franchise record was 14 straight completions. David Garrard, and that record is safe. Minshew is now 13 of 14. 3rd and 23. They're going to play it safe. Fournette tried a number of spin moves, and he's brought down at the 19-yard line. It's 4th down, 10-yard pickup for Fournette.
Yeah, Chiefs Nation well in throat right now, yelling defense, defense before that ball was snapped. They travel well, don't they?
Now Tom Coughlin, Executive VP of Football Operations, the original coach, of course, of the Jaguars, and a Super Bowl champion with the Giants. We had a chance to see him on Friday. Still loves being around it. And it wouldn't be a Sunday without Tom Coughlin being involved in the NFL in some capacity. Punt from Logan Cook. Hardman settles under it. And the fair catch brings it in at the 33, 48-yard kick. Kansas City in control. We've got 15 seconds to play in the third. The SEC on CBS returns this Saturday. Second-ranked Alabama. The Crimson Tide on the road to face South Carolina in Columbia. The best game from the best conference. All your college football coverage starts with the drive to Atlanta, 2:30 Eastern, followed by College Football Today, 3 o'clock Saturday, right here on CBS. 15 seconds to play here in the third. Chiefs have the football. Mahomes with the toss to Blake Bell, who came over from Jacksonville. Now, Jalen Ramsey is back in there for the Jaguars, so might have been a cramp issue for Ramsey on the previous possession. And that is the end of the third quarter. Chiefs in front, 30-13 here in Jacksonville. We'll come back after this message and a word from your local station. NFL Kickoff Weekend. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Chiefs fans have traveled well here in Jacksonville. They're loud. You can hear them after positive Chiefs plays. This is a 2nd and 3 to start the fourth quarter. LaShawn McCoy is dropped, but he picks up 4. Ronnie Harrison with a tackle. First down, Kansas City.
Well, first concern for the Chiefs after this one's over is that they've got to protect Mahomes better. Sprains his ankle on this play. The fumble was nullified by penalties, but a pounding, that time by Bryan, this time by Ngakoue and Harrison. And the results after that torrid first quarter, he's hit 9 different receivers for 363 yards, but it's been a different style of offense since that injury.
McCoy in motion, initially set up on the outside. This is a first down for Kansas City. Give it to McCoy. Nice cut up the field, and look out, LaShawn McCoy takes it into Jacksonville territory with Wiley and Ryder blocking up front. 31 yards for Shady McCoy.
Well, here's Ryder, here's Wiley. Watch as they use their mobility to get out on Avery Jones, push him out of the way. The cut, huge hole. The speed still is there for McCoy as he goes for 31.
So Andy Reid said, look, we got some plays in there for him, plays that we ran in Philly that he'll remember, plays he's comfortable with. There's just a high trust factor when it comes to McCoy.
And that was an intricate handoff, too, because of the quickness that had happened.
Damian Williams met by Ngakoue. Loss of 1. NFL Today update. JB and Boomer back in the Big Apple.
Hey, Ian, Dan had an arm to get it this far, right?
Well, you guys just showed McCoy. How about Deshaun Jackson? 6 catches, 126 yards, 2 TDs. This 53-yarder just happened, and the Philadelphia Eagles overtook the Washington Redskins. Now they lead 21-20 in the third quarter.
Dan would have overthrown him. His arm was that strong, right?
No, Dan always put it right on the money.
Right on the money. All right, take up for him. All right, Ian.
I like it's all past tense, too. Had,
would've, could've,
should've, yeah.
Maybe
not.
Flat down, 2nd and 11. Kelsey the catch. Deshaun Jackson just looks right in an Eagles jersey. For whatever reason, he's just one of those guys.
Yeah, and it still has his speed and quickness and moves.
And a weapon for Wentz as they have rallied
Offside,
against Washington.
Number 90, defense, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Traven Bryan. Ngakoue was limping there. 12:48 mark of this fourth quarter. And Kansas City is driving once again. 434 yards of offense. Last team to lead the NFL in total offense back-to-back years, New Orleans, 08 and 09. Flag down again, Mahomes. The pass to Kelsey, short of the first down as he's hit by Najee Good. But penalty marker at the 20. 10 penalties against Jacksonville, costing the Jaguars 71 yards. Just 2 penalties against Kansas City. And the Chiefs were the most penalized team in the NFL last year.
Offside, number 93, defense, 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
And one of those penalties against the Chiefs, Ian, was on that melee in the end zone that resulted in Miles Jack getting an early shower.
Calais Campbell, the guilty party for Jacksonville. 2nd and 1 now for KC. LaShawn McCoy's longest run all of last year was 28 yards. His last run went for 31. Mahomes. That's dropped by Hardman. McCole Hardman, the 2nd-round pick out of Georgia. They were trying to get him out in space. We sent it downstairs to Evan.
Well, guys, obviously these conditions taking a toll. Yannick Ngakoue, as you mentioned, limping off the field. They're working on that left hamstring area. Not sure if it's cramps or a muscle pull. We'll get further information on that. Ronnie Harrison's been in and out for this drive, too, part of that safety tandem, that new safety tandem for the Jags. So, again, this heat is taking its toll.
There is a knee issue for Ronnie Harrison, Evan, so his return is questionable. 13th all-time meeting with the series tied at 6-6. 3rd and 1. Mahomes. The throw to Williams and makes 2 players miss. First down on the catch and run, Damian Williams.
Well, the depth for the Chiefs at running back with Williams and now McCoy. You can see when they're in the game, they're fresh as you compare them to what Fournette's had to do, being the main guy, really the only guy for the Jaguars rushing attack. This is a good example of a team being tired defensively. Allen misses.
Wow, and it was Ronnie Harrison who was a question mark to even get back in. Evan said he's been in and out. Had his legs taken out from under him, and now they're checking on Harrison.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by FanDuel. This season, there's more ways to win on FanDuel. And by Corona Extra. Find your beach.
First and goal for the Kansas City Chiefs. 7th play of the drive with Mahomes operating out of the gun. He's got McCoy set up in the backfield. Give it to McCoy. Snakes inside, and Andrew Wingard, who has stepped in for Ronnie Harrison, the rookie out of Wyoming, will get credit for the stop.
You got to figure McCoy is hard to see. He is 5'11", but he runs as low as anybody in the league, keeping his head up and his shoulders down and just finding a crease in the defense. Almost got to the end zone.
Still has great burst.
Yep.
The speed is there, and there's a presence. Just having him in that locker room, his knowledge of the offense. 2nd and goal. Mahomes, pump and throw, end zone, touchdown! Sammy Watkins has been a machine. 3rd of the day for Watkins. And Kansas City is running away from Jacksonville.
And going against the best, and Jalen Ramsey. Watch this ball placement, though, perfectly in front of Watkins and away from the defender. Catches it in the end zone, is driven out of the end zone. 3rd touchdown of the afternoon for Watkins.
Watkins said, I just wasn't playing fast last year. I learned other wide receiver positions during the offseason in this offense, and now I see the big picture. And he and Mahomes started to really click during OTAs. Extra point from Butker. 37-13. Mahomes' his 3rd touchdown of the day. Yeah, maybe that left ankle isn't 100%, but
the right arm is.
So is the upper body for the shimmy. Sammy Watkins, 9 catches, career high 198 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He's climbing up the ranks in Kansas City history for a single game receiving performance. Returnable for Irvin, and stood up, dropped at the 21. Sorensen on special teams. Week 2, the NFL on CBS slate begins with many of you headed to Miami. And apparently Antonio Brown should be heading there as well as a member of the New England Patriots. We'll be there for that one. Then some of you will head out west. Mahomes and the Chiefs taking on the Raiders. It all starts with the NFL Today on CBS.
Wasn't Antonio Brown with the Raiders?
No. Were you sleeping yesterday? Did you miss that whole thing? That soap opera?
That soap opera is just beginning.
Oh, yeah.
Chapter 2.
Maybe chapter 3 or 4.
Yeah, coast to coast.
First down here for the Jaguars. They trail 37-13. Toss it out to Westbrook. Minshew completes it. And Okafor there defensively.
That's a running play, though. Backwards pass. And not much out of it.
What about the Kansas City defense? Obviously, that was the area that everybody was curious about coming into 2019. What have been your impressions of what they've done on that side of the ball?
Well, they've lacked really a pass rush today. They did get the big hit on Foles, and that really has gone a long way to the result that we're seeing. But they seem to be playing with a lot of coordination, and I think that they will really fit in well with this Steve Spagnuolo defense.
Spagnuolo, that connection with Andy Reid, Bob Sutton, Reid telling us, hey, it was just time for a change. And then a lot of big names with Clark and Okafor. Breeland, Claiborne is suspended for the first 4 games of the season, but he should be a factor in the secondary. Minshew, downfield. Complete. DJ Chark. So the Jaguars wanted to see more out of Chark. They have today. 35 yards on the pass play. Tall target at 6'4", 198 pounds.
Yeah, his 4th catch of the afternoon. He's wide open as the Chiefs drop coverage on him. Rashad Breeland expecting help deep, and the help doesn't come till too late.
And it's 146 yards now for Chark. And the touchdown. Minshew is 15 of 16 for 195. Good fake by Minshew. And the run inside to Armstead. So Raquel Armstead making his NFL debut, 5th round pick out of Temple. Leonard Fournette will return. Armstead got the 1 carry. 2nd and 3 now for Jacksonville. 8:44 to go here in the 4th.
But it's important for Armstead or Irvin to get more involved in the offense to give Fournette more of a blow. He's back in now.
Now Fournette bulls his way to the 20. Hit by Frank Clark on the play. Picked up 3. Enough for the first down. This Jacksonville team was ranked 19th in the NFL in rushing last year. Big drop off from the year before. And the offense just never got going. Of course, with Blake Bortles, the concerns that they had reached their ceiling and they needed to make a change and did. Minshew, nice hands there by Swaim, the former Cowboy, picks up 5. But little did they know that the rookie Gardner Minshew from Washington State would be playing meaningful plays in week 1 of the 2019 season with the injury to Nick Foles.
And week 2, 3, 4, who
and
knows
beyond.
how long.
Yes.
At least if it is a broken collarbone, which we believe it is, that is an 8-week injury just to get the bone back to health, let alone get back into football shape.
2nd and 5. Minshew sensing the pressure. Gets out of there. Minshew throwing for the touchdown. D.D. Westbrook. Minshew has got a presence.
Well, he's got a Mahomes in him too, doesn't he? As he scrambles out to the left, this is a throw that Patrick Mahomes makes routinely. It looks like Minshew has that ability as well.
First NFL touchdown for the 24-year-old rookie Gardner Minshew. And his decision-making throughout this stint has been really impressive.
And they will go for 2, put the ball on the left hash mark, so you might expect some type of action to the right to give Minshew extra time to find one of these 3 receivers.
Yeah, they're trying to make this a 2-score game. If you get the 2-point conversion, you're down by 16. You're looking at touchdown, 2-point conversion, touchdown, 2-point conversion. It's irrelevant as that one was too high for Keelan Cole. Gardner Minshew connects with D.D. Westbrook for the Jags.
So for those of you watching the Kansas City at Jacksonville contest, we are, as you can see, experiencing technical difficulty there with 5:50 and counting remaining in that one in regulation.